gezien. We gaan zo met Anna en met Gabriel praten. Maar vanavond gaat het over het maakproces. En de derde maker, Julia, die is er vanavond niet bij. Maar ik neem toch even de mogelijkheid nu om wel te vertellen wat het proces is achter haar film. Haar film is een stop-motion poppenfilm. We zullen zo praten over wat andere technieken. En mensen zullen misschien afvragen, wat waren dat voor poppen? Dat waren poppen van siliconen gemaakt met een ijzeren skelet aan de binnenkant. Voor al die mensen die nieuwsgierig zijn naar de techniek. Maar nu gaan we naar Anna en Gabriel. Welcome, Anna and Gabriel. Nice to meet you. First of all, I'm going to ask you both some questions. Thank you very much for your movies. They were moving, intriguing, beautiful. Anna, can you tell me something? No, maybe let's first. Your movie is very much a filmmaker's film. It's an experience that many filmmakers will recognize, the insecurity of sending your film baby into the world and seeing it fly off and what happens. Do you find an audience or not? But why did you feel the need to make a movie about it?
I just needed to make a movie, and it was not that much about what was not that important at that point. I often say I live to make movies, and I make movies to live. It's like it's the closed circle that you can't really break. So the impulse, the original impulse was this experience, but this experience moved me towards rethinking my own process. And I wanted to make a movie that was not planned and that was not I didn't want to choose only one technique to do it. I didn't want to especially be bored. So I just took this impulse of having all these rejection letters and decided to turn it into a process. So that was the thing that started the movie.
Mm-hmm. And when people think about a movie process, many people are familiar with the idea of the script writer behind the typewriter writing a screenplay. And in animation, this is often not the case. It often doesn't start with language, but it starts with images and objects, perhaps in your case. How do you come from this original idea of this incentive? How do you collect your images? How do you create your structure?
So in this particular case, it was the idea was not to create a structure from the very start, but to let the film develop during the process of making it. So, because usually I commit to some kind of very complicated technique, like paint on glass, for example, and I have to plan a lot of things ahead. So it leads to this feeling of stiffness that you don't really want to change things, that you already have this storyboard animatic, you actually know what is happening in the film, and then you kind of just exercise it. You're just doing the animation, which of course gives you some space to improvise and to play, but in a lot of for me, it was very often the case that I would find myself like a prisoner of these frames. Mm-hmm. Just, okay, now I need to get over these 12 frames and then I can check my emails or something like that. And I wanted to avoid exactly that. I wanted to be like really not to know where the film was going. So it started with this impulse, with the idea, okay, let's do something about these stupid rejection letters because they all sound the same and it's kind of interesting. And also there is this interesting thing that you are kind of caught between longing for success, but at the same time, actually, I was constantly asking myself, is it why I am doing what I'm doing? And if I see that nobody needs it, do I still have the right to do it? Those were all like the questions around it. And so I just, it started with a little image, and basically I wanted to improvise. I took a piece of paper like this, and I took a pen like this, and I actually wanted to, oops, it's hard to meet the frame. Yeah, here. It's charcoal pen. And I just started drawing something. And I stayed on this one piece of paper. It became one of the again, hard to meet the frame, sorry.
Yeah, maybe a bit about, yes.
Yeah, oops. Yeah, so this is, and I was doing it until erasing until this, the paper started getting holes. And that was the beginning of the process. And then it took me to a very different place that I imagined it at the very beginning. And then from the very start, also the sound was a big inspiration. Sound and the music was a big inspiration. And I was working with the sound designer very closely from the very start.
I want to get back to things you just mentioned. I'll go back to Anna. Anna, in the beginning of your movie, you show us how the animation process works. You make a little miniature setup, and you take us by the hand, and you show us how this frame-by-frame animation works. But your 2D animation, you also use some other techniques like pixelation and stop motion, is not the typical animation technique, which sets out keyframes and then does everything in between. You start, and that's what you see. You see also the echo of the previous images still there. It's much more difficult, I expect. Or how do you feel about that?
For me, it's not much more difficult. It's more because, again, if you have keyframes, you already planned everything and you're just doing in-betweens, then you can also hire someone else to do it. And if you're doing a straightforward animation like I do, you are always getting the surprises that suddenly the movement doesn't work the way you wanted it or you planned it to work, and then it just develops by itself. It has its own life. And then again, I really like that it has this, you can see the traces of your previous drawings, because it's like everything you live in life, it leaves these traces, and it's like this continuation. It's not something new every day. It's somehow it's there in this one piece of paper, and I get inspired by this.
So it was very much is part of the concept, or in the core of what you're telling, that this technique fits.
It wasn't like I was sitting there and thinking, okay, what is my concept? How am I going to do it? It was more like thinking with the hands, and this became this just became one of the ideas of the film, but it wasn't planned like this before. I just like doing things with hands. I like shutting off the brain and just do stuff. You know, in Russian, I come from Russia, and we have this saying about the mind is scared, but the hands are still working. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you're you have this thing that you have to do, and you really don't know how, and you just let your hands do it. And I really like this this attitude.
And all your drawings, are they as big as the pieces of paper that you just showed us? Yeah.
It's a little bit, I mean, it's this, I don't even remember the size, but come on. Mm-hmm. I really like to be in this head, but it's hard to meet the...
Sorry.
No, but I like it. They are all like this, but the frame itself is usually a little bit smaller.
And how many iterations can you do on one page?
I mean, this scene turned out to be like about 1.5 minutes of animation.
On that one piece of paper?
Yes, on that one piece of paper, but I had to batch it. and it was the only one that I did that long. Everywhere else, I made shorter sequences, but this one, it became, it was a scene that was made like right at the beginning, and it just developed over weeks, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, really didn't know what was it. Just the character appeared and started acting, and then suddenly the plant appeared, and then suddenly this appeared, and somehow it just developed on its own. And that was the only one. And then I just realized, okay, I can't erase it anymore. There are all these holes. I have to patch the holes with different layers of paper. It was too tiresome. So I just started switching pages.
That's really beautiful. 1.5 minutes on that piece of paper. So much life and in that one piece. And Anna, how about you? What is you just mentioned to us that you have a B&B, but also still making movies, or?
Well, yeah, somewhere in between cleaning the floors and buying sofas. Yes, these guys are, oh God, something is...
The yellow legs, no. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, yellow legs and red legs. Yeah, we can see them. Okay. They're sweet.
Yeah, they are. This is going to be a kids' film, and it's about light switches.
Light switches. We're looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Anna and Gabriel, for talking to us and enjoying our audience with your beautiful movies.